Okay, folks, Strange Darling, Mike's instant movie review. This is going to be very instant. I just saw a big preview, which was supposed to have a Q&A with the producer and cinematographer, Giovanni Ribisi. I don't know if Giovanni directed this as well. He might have, but we were cut short a little bit because the Regal Cinema, which I'm normally an advocate for this Regal Cinema, but tonight this Regal Cinema, either the whole chain or just this location here in Jacksonville, Florida, ended the evening's entertainment before the Q&A got going. There was supposed to be a wonderful Q&A after the film with the fantastic producer Giovanni Ribisi, or however I say his name. But we heard about two sentences from what seemed to be a narrator, and then kaput, the lights go out, and there's no goddamn Q&A. So I don't know if that's a technical glitch with the home team, meaning headquarters of this special presentation, or this particular Regal doesn't know. I mean, they're not very good with making frozen pizzas. I've experienced that in the past. However, they are a nice staff, I'll say that. They're polite. I just don't know if somebody unplugged the goddamn feed or whatever the hell happened here. So let me just talk about the movie, because I can't tell you about the Q&A because I didn't get to see it. Now you might be saying, well, gee whiz, Mike, you're such an alpha male, you're such a go-getter. Why didn't you go to the concession stand or find the bald guy that works there and talk to him and try to get things going and try to have this happen? Well, I didn't want to. I was hungry. I'm driving to Whataburger, and I'm a little upset, folks, because there's some behind-the-scenes shenanigans going on, apparently, with my presence on this platform. And the long and the short of it is, you might want to start following me on Vimeo, or go to MikeMessier.com for updates. And that's all I'll say at the matter at this time. But you can find Mike Messier on Vimeo and MikeMessier.com. People that tell me in the past, oh, I've been trying to find you online. Well, assholes, I've got MikeMessier.com under lock and key for going on 20 fucking years now. So anyone that tells me that they've tried to find me online and they couldn't is either an incompetent asshole or they're full of fucking shit. Because I'm one of the easiest goddamn persons to find online. So when people say, oh, I sent you a message but you didn't get back to me, I know that they're knee-high in dog shit. Of course, the downside of that is I recently got a message from someone who I had absolutely no interest in hearing from. Some supposed collaborator from years gone by who never, I don't know if he finished the project or didn't finish the project, but in any regards, I mean, you never hear from the people in life that you want to hear from. You only hear from the stack full of assholes. I mean, no offense to you if you're a good person out there, but you're probably not. In any regard, let's talk about this film, Love Darling, or Darling, whatever the fuck. You know, I'll say this. The movie, it's another one of those let's play with chronology movies. Okay, 1994 Pulp Fiction, we get it. Let's take a beginning, middle, end story and put it in a blender and make you figure it out, because that's so goddamn original that every movie since Pulp Fiction, 2 Days in the Valley, and every other thing else has to do it, and we're supposed to give a shit at this point. We get it. You're playing with narrative structure. Oh my fucking God. Blake Snyder's rolling in his grave, and who gives a shit? So we see this goddamn, that's a person who wrote a book about screenwriting, in case you didn't fucking know, if I have to spoon you these references, people. So let's get into it. Dark movie. We start off with like this words on screen. Every movie now made in 2024 is trying to seem like it's made in 1978. Like that's the goddamn thing. Every movie wants you to think that the producers of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre were reincarnated into their fucking millennial fucking minds. Anyway, we start off with the text on screen telling us about this serial killer yada yada, from 2018 to 2020. So I think that was the years, or 2021 to 2023, relatively recent story. And we see this couple, like it seems like a hookup, or it seems like the guy is going through a divorce, because he makes references to having his groceries on one shelf and hers on another, which I assume to be a wife that he's kind of separating from. And he's got this attractive woman. She reminded me of someone I had done an acting exercise with years ago. Very attractive actress here. And they're in the car being all like swarmy and smoldering, and oh, we're outside of a hotel, and should we have this one night stand or should we not, or whatever the fuck. And then we kind of scramble jamble, and I mean the movie starts with the woman running direct to camera in distress with like what appears to be a bloody or mutilated ear. Roddy Piper, Greg Valentine, 1982, for crying out loud, or 1983. So we get into this. That's for all the One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan YouTube channels fans. So we get into this thing, and we discover that, like, oh no, he's a horrible person, and he's going to kill this chick, because they're doing this stuff where they're jumping around in the storytelling. So it seems like this asshole guy is hunting this poor woman. And then we find out, okay, well, she was kind of into the kink a little bit. God, this fucking fuck. So it's like, okay, she was into the kink, but she doesn't deserve this, because this guy was pushing it too far, and she was using the code word Mr. Snuffleupagus, and he was supposed to let her go, and all this horse shit. So we're getting all kind of distressed. And to be quite honest, folks, for the first time in many a moon, I think since Scary Movie 4, I remember walking out on and actually asking for my money back and getting it. So for the first time in quite some time, I was tempted to leave the theater in distress, and I couldn't get my money back because this was just part of the Regal Unlimited subscription plan. I guess I could ask for my 50 cents back for the fucking convenience charge that they don't tell you about when you sign up. But I did not. I stuck with the film. I said, I'll bear through this horrible movie. This is another serial killer guy, and I'm guessing he's going to get what's coming to him. But I'm like, am I going to see a scene where he cuts this woman's ear off? Like, that's pretty intense, and he's got her all tied up, and she's in her skivvies, as they used to say. Like, she's wearing a very sexy undergarments, like a red bottoms and a black top, and she's all sexy, and he's all brooding, and you're like, oh my goodness, this poor woman, she went for a one-night stand, and little did she know she's with this serial killer. Well, I'll cut to the chase. We see Ed Begley and some other actress, or some actress that I didn't know. See, you should say Ed Begley and an actress, because he's not an actress, although he likes the environment and drives an electric car for the last 40 years. It's always nice to see Ed Begley Jr. getting work from St. Elsewhere, a show you folks, probably most of you young folks probably don't know, but St. Elsewhere is the show that gave us such standouts as, I dare say, Howie Mandel, and I want to say Denzel Washington. It was a show before ER, before Chicago Hope, before the whatever the fuck, the one with the lady that everyone hates. What's that show? The one with the nerd, the female doctor, and she left the show, and then another one, whatever the fuck. But St. Elsewhere was a big show for its time, but it was kind of like not such a big show because it was kind of in the shadows of Hill Street Blues and so forth. But anyway, Ed Begley Jr. and this lady, his wife, they take her in, they try to help her. But lo and behold, we discover, spoilers by the way, that the guy is not the serial killer. Dun, 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 dun. She, the woman with the bloody ear and so forth, she's the serial killer. And due to the wonderful scattering way of storytelling, the way that they told the middle first and the beginning last, and the this thing and that thing, and everything's out of order, we don't know what the F or fuck, as they say, is going on in this movie until it's all said and done. But about, I would say, a third to 40% of the way through the movie is when we discover, because she basically tells Ed Begley Jr., please don't call the police. He insists, and she fucking kills him. And now I just drove by the Whataburger because this asshole truck fuck is on my dick. All these people have to drive so goddamn close to you, like they're in such a fucking hurry. And, you know, if I go 5 miles faster or slower, now this fucking fuckhead is on my goddamn ass. All these people can rot in hell for eternity where they can smash their goddamn cars against each other. And now he's going to drive so fast so he can get to a red light in his fucking Prius or whatever goddamn piece of shit fucking life this asshole has. It's 11 o'clock at night. He has to go home and watch the fucking reruns of Curb Your Enthusiasm all night because he's in such a goddamn hurry because he's such a fucking asshole. But in any event, we are watching this movie. We're discovering about 30 to 40% of the way in that she is the killer and he is just a cop. Uh-oh, did I mention that? He's a cop, folks. So the cop, he did not realize that he was fornicating with the electric lady. And I guess this is a true story. I mean, I guess I would have known for sure if I had heard the fucking Q&A with Giovanni Ribisi after the movie ended. But thanks to the Regal Cinemas on Phillips Highway in Jacksonville, Florida, somebody pulled the plug, a teenager picked his nose and didn't push the right button, and now I don't get to know all these insightful things about the movie because I didn't see the Q&A that I signed up for, okay, people? So this is what I'm dealing with in this society. Now this asshole car has to go through the drive-thru and ponder his fucking vagina while I'm trying to get some food, and now we have this, I don't want to make false assertions, but someone with a backpack who looks to be, quote, a little down on their luck, quote, but I don't want to make assumptions and say a homeless person because, you know, that would be hashtagable if I were to say such a goddamn thing. Anyway, I'm going to see if I can find a nice place to park my vehicle, get a goddamn breakfast burger because it just passed 11 o'clock at night, and that's what the good times roll in this town at this Whataburger. Now this asshole's on my cock too. All these fucks. I'm just so goddamn sick of human beings. Anyway, here's the goddamn Thai cuisine. Jimmy John's drive-thru. That place is more or less a ripoff. The Starbucks, that's okay. Everything sucks. So anyway, I'm going to go in and get this burger and at least have something in my life worth living for a change. But the movie, you know, like I said, I was about to walk out, but isn't it funny, folks, even with me, that like the movie is so dark and scary and just so reprehensible with all this violence, but once I learned that it's actually the woman, the female, who's the serial killer, suddenly I'm more intrigued. Suddenly I'm more into this thing. You know what I mean? And then somebody said something that was something similar. Somebody was talking about, you know, a gender inequality thing, which was to the effect of, oh, he was this podcast guy that I listened to, Dr. Joe or Dr. John Delante. Some asshole guy was calling up. He was all in a pissy because his wife was going to go to some bachelorette party and they were planning to go see like the Thunder Down Under, the male strippers, and this guy was all upset about it. And Dr. John said, hey, buddy, you know, look, he said, I don't know why, but it just seems different. It just seems different when men go to a strip club. It just feels like a different set of circumstances than when women go. Because women go and they giggle, and like the slutty one, you know, might fornicate with one stripper. But for the most part, all of them, all the women are just going to giggle and drink. But, you know, if guys go to a strip club, it's a different story, especially for a bachelor party. All their hormonal rages are going to come out. The strippers, for their part, know that they're going to have a party full of marks, a bunch of idiots with money to spend. So they're going to be on their best stripper behavior to try to squeeze more money out of these guys than even usual. And Dr. Joe or Dr. John pointed that out. And just as I'm pointing out with this cinematic experience, if it was just another creepy guy, beating up on a woman, I didn't particularly want to watch that because it felt a little gruesome. And what's he doing with her ear? But once it became revealed that the electric lady is actually, the heel in this thing, and then it's like, oh, this is kind of interesting now. So what can I tell you? It's a double standard. You know what I mean? I did start watching some type of show the middle of the morning this morning, like 1, 2, or 3 in the morning. It was like Women on Death Row. I think it was on either Hulu or Max, one of the streaming apps. And yes, the show started off telling us that there's 2,500 people currently, approximately, on death row in the United States right now, and only 50 are women. So what's that? 1 out of 50 out of 250 would be, that would be 1 out of, how many times does, goddamn, 50 out of 250. That would be 1 out of 10. Does that make sense? No, that would be 1 out of 250. 1 out of 5. And if it was 250, what do they say? 2,500. So I guess we're saying 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 500. I'm trying to do all these mathematical equations. But there's people in this parking lot that I'm keeping an eye on. I'm monitoring. I'm trying to do all these wonderful things. But basically, I guess the point of the matter is this, fine folks. As Charlize Theron proved many moons ago with her monster movie, not a movie about a monster like Godzilla, but a movie about a killer. Aileen, I think was the name. Women serial killers are more interesting because there's less of them, okay? So, anyway, there you go. Well, folks, so should you see this movie, should you not? The movie kind of makes a reference to the type of audience this film would like because they make kind of a self-referential reference at one point. The electric lady references true crime shows. And so I think the story here, folks, is if you like true crime podcasts, if you like true crime shows, and you have a heart and stomach, because trust me, folks, I've sat through many of things, true romance, everything here, there, and yon. I can handle the bloody stuff, but this one is pretty intense. And if if the reveal that it's a woman who's the bad guy and she's the one getting, slapped around a little bit, if that makes you feel better, in the big picture, then fine. I guess I would also say I went into this theater expecting a wonderful Q&A, and Regal sodomized me. I did not get to enjoy that. So, but whatever the fuck. But yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. So, Giovanni, interesting that he was listed as also the cinematographer, which is kind of interesting. I don't recall, folks, if he's the producer, director, and cinematographer. And I kept looking for him in the film. I kept thinking, is he the fucking guy? Like, is he the sergeant? But I don't think he was, unless he looked drastically different. Because the guy playing the cop looked different than Giovanni Ribisi. I just had a horrible faux pas in a review I'm looking for my phone and I'm talking into it, by the way. I just had a horrible faux pas the other day. I said something about Blake Lively playing the two roles in the movie that's out now, like playing the character at the same age twice, or two different ages. It was actually a different actress that played the character at the younger age. And I also made a mistake. I said that this guy's going to have his little trucker lights on me. Thanks, asshole. I also said that, what's his dick? The guy from The Breakfast Club and everything else, Edward Scissorhands, Michael, one of these assholes with 3 names. I said he was in the It Ends With Us movie as the father, and he wasn't. It wasn't him. It was some other guy. What's that guy's name? From the Breakfast Club, and he used to be like a curly wimp, and then he got all beefy up. What's that guy? Anyway, so yeah, folks, if you like the dark stuff, if you like, violence movies and craziness and real life horror and, oh my goodness, then this is the movie to see. But if you have, if it's not like it's so goddamn good, you have to see it, but you could see it. So anyway, folks, MikeMessier.com, that's where to find me these days.